Glyphosate, more commonly known as Roundup, will now be used in our vaccinations.
Woo!
Well, you heard me right. It should be one of these, you can't make this stuff up categories. They're going to take Roundup, glyphosate, and they're going to put it into vaccinations. So vaccinations, which are incredibly safe for anybody, should go get those.
Vaccinations are the holy grail of medicine.
And Roundup, which is also probably the safest substance on the planet.
Do not believe that glyphosate in Argentina is causing increases in cancer. You can drink a whole quart of it and it won't hurt you.
It's dangerous,
I know. No, people try to commit suicide with it and fail fairly
let's
regularly.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
They should be combined together. No, absolutely. Actually, just being a little facetious in that last little clip there. No, vaccinations, in my opinion, very dangerous. I would never get one again.
Are you aware that one of the objections to vaccination by the plaintiff in this case is the inclusion of aborted fetal tissue in the development of vaccines and the fact that it's actually part of the ingredients of vaccines?
Yeah, I'm aware of those objections.
And I would never put them into my kids or anything like that. That's insane. And then glyphosate or Roundup. Here's one of the most dangerous.
Tell the truth.
It's not dangerous to humans. No, it's not.
So you're ready to drink one glass of glyphosate?
No, I'm not an idiot.
Substances that we know, and they just were sued. They won France got them for $2 billion in a $2 billion lawsuit for killing a French farmer. You had an $80 million lawsuit that somebody won. They got cancer from, I think it was out in California. And there's another one there's out there, a $2 billion lawsuit. I don't think it's been levied against them. It's in the court system. So they're getting sued left and right. And so now they've gotten together with Merck, the pharmaceutical company, and Merck is just a great company, let me tell you. They've gotten together with them, and they have decided, let's take this glyphosate and put it into vaccinations, and everything will be hunky-dory. We'll save our giant, massive corporation, Monsanto, and Merck, you can keep putting this into all the population and everything should be fine. This is where we are. I thought this was an Onion story. I thought it was a fake news story or something like, somebody, I would put this out there and somebody would get me. They're going to put glyphosate, Roundup into vaccinations. Now, these are all these conspiracy theories about, do they put fluoride in the water to dumb people down? They put saltpeter into the coffee so the soldiers don't get an erection, this kind of thing. It's just kind of like, oh, they don't really do that. But you got to wonder here, they're taking Roundup, glyphosate, which has been known to interfere with glycine uptake into the body.
Recently, last December, Anthony Samsel, who's my collaborator, called me up and he said, I think glycine and glyphosate is substituting for glycine by mistake in protein synthesis. We found enormous amounts of evidence that can explain why glyphosate is correlated with so many diseases that are going up alarmingly today in our society, making us all sick.
Now, glycine is an amino acid, and it's a very complicated subject. But basically, when your body sees glyphosate, it's everywhere in our environment. Roundup is everywhere. And it's literally just really saturated our entire environment. It doesn't matter where you live now. It's everywhere. Monsanto has seen to that through the years. And what happens is your body sees glyphosate as glycerin, or recognizes it, and then it takes it into the body, and it just wreaks havoc on the body and on every level. And as I said, Roundup now is replete throughout our environment. Monsanto's been selling it for many, many years. They have forced farmers to take this stuff when they grow their terminator seeds, the seeds that don't ever generate another seed. That's not insidious. No, this is one of the most evil products ever invented in human history, Roundup, because it will kill any plant on planet Earth except the genetically modified seeds that that have been designed in a laboratory not to be killed by Roundup. The real issue here, of course, is the vaccinations, about what they're putting into the vaccinations and how they're forcing us to get the vaccinations. Glyphosate they're going to put in there in with vaccinations. Human blood serum from aborted feces. This is cannibalism, essentially. And we're being told over and over, just put this into your body. Your kids are not going to be able to go to school anymore here in California. Your kids are not going to be able to go to school anywhere unless you get all these vaccinations. And they're becoming more and more prevalent. You know, when I was growing up, I'm 61 years old. When I was growing up in the 1960s, we had 3 vaccinations. I believe there's 24 or 27 vaccinations they're giving to children before the age of 10 now. And you have to wonder where all these diseases are coming from. Why is autism on the rise? Why are we seeing an explosion of diseases across the board? Cancer. You know, 1 in 8,000 people about 120 years ago got cancer. I believe it's 1 in 3 now, almost 1 in 2. I'm all for choice and people always having lots of choices. So I don't really want to take these things off the market. I don't want to get rid of the vaccines, but now we're being forced to take them. So this has really become, we're calling it a religious issue. A religious issue. Why does religion have to have anything to do with it? Why do I have to say, as a Jewish person, I don't want this? As a Catholic, I'm against it. It doesn't matter. How about I just don't want it? Don't we still live in a free society? I'm not for vaccinations, and I'm an anti-vaxxer. As I've said before, I'm not for banning really bad substances such as trans fats. Trans fats are just absolutely horrible for your health. But ban them like they did in New York City, that's not the way to go. Big, tall glasses of soft drinks, this huge amount of sugar you're putting into your body. It's terrible. It's really, really, really awful for you. You want to ban it? This is not the way to go. We all have, fundamental freedoms in our society, and we should not be forced into taking vaccinations if we don't want to. Put them into your children if you don't want to, even if you don't want to. And then really be ostracized from society and called names, anti-vaxxers. Oh, you're one of those homeschoolers that won't put these things into your children, so you're a Bible thumper. There's gaslighting. Gaslighting in the sense that, they're really telling you, you're insane for not doing this. You're insane. Everybody should go down and get your flu shot. Who wouldn't get their flu shot? As if the flu shot is safe. They don't know which viruses to put into that flu shot that they give you every year. It's just nonsense. They've got a vaccination now, the HPV vaccination for cancer. Boy, I don't know what that's about, because vaccinations have always been for infectious diseases. So you vaccinate yourself, against this, you inoculate your body to it, and then if you put smallpox in there, then your body will build up an immunity to it. That's the idea. Now, of course, I want to get rid of infectious diseases with silver, liquid angstrom silver, which I've said many, many times. Of all these terrible diseases we see coming out now, there's a Candida aura, which is like a yeast infection in your ear. It's killing millions of people. Silver. That's what I'm going to use for that. Vaccinations are being forced on us. They're not the way to go. There's anywhere from 250 to 350,000 people that are killed every single year at the hands of the medical industry. That doesn't make me feel good about being in the hands of the medical industry. And as I've said before, if I get into an accident, I'm going to want a doctor. That's what doctors are there for. But when it comes to disease of any kind, we're being forced to use the medical industry when they force vaccinations on us.
If you're not vaccinating your kid, you're being a moron.
And as far as I'm concerned, you're being brainwashed into believing that the medical industry has any answers at all for disease of any kind. It doesn't. I don't care if it's chronic disease or infectious disease. That's what I do. That's the kind of thing that we can do with nature, and why I call myself a naturopath and why I became a naturopath. The medical industry, they started tackling diseases a little over 100 years ago. That's when the pharmaceutical industry really started coming into play with all their drugs. And what's happened to diseases? Well, they've exploded. You say, well, there's a lot more people. No, look at the percentage of people getting the diseases. We used to follow nature, and now we follow science. And the people who don't want to follow science were crazy. We're the anti-vaxxers. And they're putting Roundup, glyphosate, into vaccinations now. And the FDA is keeping it on the down low. They're hiding it. Now, health to me is about autonomy. It's about self-determination. It's about deciding what I want to put into my body and what I don't want to put into my body. If I get into an accident, of course I'm going to want a doctor there. This is why we have medical doctors. This is why we have the medical industry. They do an amazing job. But when you start telling me that when I need to take vaccinations, or your kids aren't going to go to school, or we're going to start doing this right out of as soon as they're born, we're going to give this to you. You're losing your freedom. You're losing your autonomy. You're losing your autonomy over your own health and your own life, your own body. And this is what the central issue is for me. So that's why I don't want vaccinations. This is why I want to have choice. I do believe the answers are found for infectious diseases. As I've said many, many times, they're found in silver, in bismuth, and there's other things we can do, build your immune system. And as far as the rest of it, chronic disease, that's my 7-component health protocol. I know how to tell you what to do to be as healthy as you possibly can be so you won't get sick and you won't get a chronic disease of any kind. What's the issue here? Autonomy, self-determination. What you want to put into your body and what you don't want to put into your body. You want to put vaccinations with Roundup? Put vaccinations with Roundup. That's your choice. You want to put that into your child? That's your choice. Please leave me the choice to say no. I have a better solution. I have a different way. And the fact that I don't get a vaccination is not going to infect you. We have lost a lot of our freedoms in this country, and one that is being taken away from us is our healthcare choices. Which doctor we'll go to, and what we're going to put into our body and what we're not going to put into our body. We need to have the choice whether or not we want to have vaccinations, whether we want them put into our children, or whether we don't. If we lose that, believe me, we will no longer have this self-determination. We will no longer have autonomy. We'll be doing what the government tells us to do, and we'll be putting things into our body, whether we really know what's in them or not. I'm Dr. Bob. I'll see you next time.